The night was eerily silent. The air outside was thick with an unusual stillness, as if the world itself was holding its breath. John sat at his desk, scrolling mindlessly through his phone, oblivious of the note that had just been slipped under his door. A soft rustling sound broke his trance. He looked down and saw the crumpled piece of paper. Puzzled, he picked it up and read the hastily scribbled message. Be careful. Tomorrow is the last day. Please don't go to this place at any cost. 2 women are. The note ended abruptly. The unfinished sentence sent a shiver down his spine. His eyes darted toward the door, but there was no sign of anyone. Who could have left this? And why? John's heart pounded. He glanced at the clock, 11:59 p.m. The message felt urgent, almost desperate. Was this some kind of prank? Or was there something more sinister lurking in the shadows? He couldn't ignore it. Not when every fiber of his being screamed that this was not just a coincidence. A decision that could change everything. John had moved to this town a few months ago for work. A quiet, uneventful place with a population that barely crossed a few thousand. People here kept themselves, and outsiders were always met with wary eyes. There were rumors, stories about places one should never set foot in, whispers about things that were better left undiscovered. And yet, here he was, holding a note that seemed to pull him toward the very thing he was warned against. His curiosity won. John spent the next hour digging through local forums, news archives, anything that could tell him about strange happenings in town. One name kept appearing over and over, Eldon Hill. People spoke about it in hushed voices. A secluded part of town, hidden behind dense woods. A place where time seemed to stop, where shadows moved even when there was no wind. But the most chilling thing? Every few years, 2 women were reported missing near Eldon Hill, and they were never found. A warning from the past. John was still engrossed in his research when his phone rang. It was an unknown number. Hesitant, he answered. A frail voice whispered, "You read the note, didn't you?" His blood ran cold. "Who is this?" "Don't go to Eldon Hill. Tomorrow is the last day. You still have a choice. Leave while you can." Before he could respond, the call ended. John sat in stunned silence, his hands clammy. His rational mind told him to listen, to stay away. But something deep inside him refused to back down. Was it foolishness? Or was it fate? Determined, he made up his mind. Tomorrow, he would go to Eldon Hill. The journey into darkness. The morning was unusually gloomy, the sky overcast with thick, ominous clouds. John packed a flashlight, a knife, and his phone before heading out. Every step closer to Eldon Hill felt like stepping into a world beyond reality. The trees loomed taller, their branches clawing at the sky like skeletal fingers. The deeper he went, the quieter everything became. No birds, no rustling leaves, just an unnatural silence that pressed against his chest like an invisible weight. Then he saw it. An old, decaying house sat at the top of the hill. Ivy crept up its walls, its windows shadowed like hollow eyes staring into nothingness. The door was slightly ajar, swaying with the faintest breeze. His breath hitched. A deep sense of unease settled in his gut. Just as he was about to step back, a soft voice called out from inside. "John." His blood froze. How did they know his name? He turned to run, but before he could, a pair of hands reached out from the darkness inside, pulling him in. The darkness swallowed John whole. The moment he was pulled inside, the door slammed shut behind him, plunging the room into absolute silence. He gasped, struggling against the cold, firm grip that seized his wrist. His pulse pounded in his ears as he twisted free, stumbling backward. He fumbled for his flashlight and flicked it on, the beam slicing through the thick, suffocating shadows. Nothing. The room was empty. A chill ran down his spine. He could have sworn someone had grabbed him. The sensation of fingers, ice cold and rigid, still lingered on his skin. He shuddered, his breath shallow. Then a whisper echoed from the corner of the room. "You shouldn't have come, John." He spun around, the flashlight trembling in his grip. The beam landed on an old wooden staircase leading up to the second floor. The steps were covered in dust, as if no one had walked them in years. Yet faint footprints led upward fresh, distinct. He hesitated. Every instinct screamed at him to leave, but he had come too far. Gritting his teeth, he took a step forward. A house that breathes. The walls seemed to exhale as he moved. The wood creaked beneath his weight, each step sounding like a groan from something ancient and restless. The air was thick, heavy with the scent of damp wood and decay. He reached the top of the stairs. A long corridor stretched before him, lined with doors, each slightly ajar. Flickering candlelight danced from one of the rooms at the end of the hall. A figure stood inside. John's breath hitched. It was a woman, her back turned to him, dressed in a tattered white gown. Her long, dark hair cascaded down her back, unmoving, as if frozen in time. "Hello," he called out, his voice hoarse. She didn't respond. John took a cautious step closer. As he did, the woman's head twitched. Then, with an unnatural jerking motion, she snapped her head completely backward to face him. Her hollow, blackened eyes bored into his soul. And then she smiled. A guttural whisper escaped her lips. "You are too late." The candles blew out, and the house erupted into a deafening scream. John's vision blurred as the scream rattled his bones. He stumbled back, his mind reeling. The darkness around him thickened, pressing against his skin like a living entity. He felt a presence circling him, unseen but palpable. A whisper slithered through the air. "Run, John." He bolted, down the hallway, through the stairs. His feet barely touched the ground. The walls seemed to close in, the house warping around him. He reached the front door, yanking at the handle. It wouldn't budge. Then he saw them. Two women stood in the shadows, their eyes hollow voids of despair. "You should have left," one whispered. "You were warned," the other added, and then, as the world turned to black, he understood. He was never meant to leave.